What's going on, everybody? Paranormal talk here with Kayla. We are going to be diving into the world of the unknown. Some people, or as Zach Bacon says on Ghost Adventures,
There are things in this world that you'll never fully understand.
understand. A lot of people don't understand the paranormal. A lot of people don't want to believe the paranormal. Um, let's talk about skeptics here, Kayla. I know that you actually run a paranormal group, correct? Or
Yes, I
did?
do. Um, it's a new thing that we're starting. Like I've been exploring places for a long time now, but I just started a group called Spirit Spies. My kids helped me name that group. They want to be part of the group and go to certain places and explore too. But you can't just let them go everywhere. Like there's certain places for sure I just won't bring them, but they love it.
It's understandable.
Now, when you were doing the paranormal before, like how many skeptics have you dealt with on a basis with
A
it?
lot. Like, there's so many people that just don't believe it. They'll see something fly across the room in their house and, like, just don't care. Like, oh, I don't know. You must have walked on that board and something just went flying, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll
Like, it
happen.
could be right in front of their face, and they make up reasons why it's not what it is. I always try to cancel it out, of course, I don't always go, "Oh, yeah, that's a ghost." But there's a lot
Well, I'll
of
tell you what,
misbelief there.
I dealt with a couple of skeptics when I was doing the ghost tour guide. Like, and it was always the first couple of customers I got was always the wives that were excited and the husbands were like, I don't believe this.
Or
I
it
don't
was the other
believe.
way
It
around.
was the other way
Or it
around.
was the other way
And then
around.
you bring them there, and it's the husbands that are pushing the wives down, running down the hallway.
Yeah. What's interesting though is one guy in particular who said he was not a believer. It was just him and his wife. And I remember Mel remembers because she went with me, and we got to the last phase of the tour. These two ran the fuck out of the building, and they just threw the tip at me like, and it was the guys like, oh, we're gonna go. And I'm like, I don't know if something happened to them or
Where were
whatever
you
the case
at?
it was, but they just ran across out there, and I was like, well, that was an easy $30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where were
Well,
you
you
at?
see, the thing is that like people, I think that I think that skeptics, it's not. I think skeptics have a fear of the unknown.
Definitely.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't want to acknowledge the fact that there could potentially be an otherworldly things out there that they just can't understand, and that's why they're like, well, it doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. Well, that's basically saying that aliens don't exist, because we all know that in some way it exists. They exist. They've visited the planet before. We know this for a fact. It has. I mean, they've had to. And people who say no, they haven't. I'm like, come on. We're not the only. We're not the only people. We're not the only beings, or things of this universe. There's got to be more than just us in the universe.
Yep.
So, and granted, I know that there are like planes, and there are like unidentified objects that fly around all the time, and they just happen to land on our planet or whatever sometimes, and they could be like, wouldn't it be interesting if there was another planet just like ours, where people like us are existing on that planet just like us? They're like duplications of this, you know and it could be like our own past lives.
Sorry, I was reading.
it's kind of hard to reach out and interact with the spirit. I mean, you can interact with one, but it's kind of hard to reach out to one. I mean, you can reach out to it too, actually. You just have to
You just
be
gotta be
open-minded about it.
respectful doing it. If you're going out there and you're like, fuck these ghosts, la-di-la-di-da, you a bunch of bitches. Like, you know how people go out and trash talk ghosts? Don't do that. Don't do it. That's disrespectful and they will follow you back.
Well, it's like the same thing like when people commit crimes against graveyards and everything and try and dig up people's graves, or they have like those metal things that people would steal from graveyards, copper and all that kind of crap, or try and it's just there's certain things you just don't do. But people do it anyway because they want money, because they're greedy and they need drugs and they need all this kind of crap. And I look at it like, you're eventually going to be haunted by somebody. You don't realize it though, but it will happen.
Let me address the whole scene is believing the scene. I tell there was
I get that. I do. I get it.
There was a guy who came to one of my tours, and he told me he's like I want to believe, but I don't see it. And I told him, I said, look, spirits don't always haunt the same place at the same exact times. And one thing you're going to have to understand is about seeing is sometimes you don't see it, sometimes you feel it, and it's a feeling of emotion. I have the empath ability, so I feel the emotions of a place that's haunted. Like if there's a murder there, I feel that. I may not necessarily see the two ghosts, or I might not see the two spirits, but I feel it. I feel the raw emotions from it. And I think if people allow themselves to actually feel it, just because you don't see it, I mean, like anybody could probably see an orb or a flash of light. But seeing a full-fledged apparition is very rare to find. You're not going to always find a full apparition. You might see a face. I've seen a face before.
Okay, when he's saying, okay, I can see that manifestation, that will help me the more of a believer. Here's the thing. There's people who have the gift of being able to see things better than others. Mm-hmm. Okay? I've personally never seen a manifestation or an apparition in my life. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've never seen one. But I know they exist because we have a friend who is a medium. Okay? Mm-hmm. And when his grandmother passed away, okay, our medium friend came over to the house one day, maybe a couple weeks after her passing.
Months.
And maybe a couple months. Okay, a couple months after her passing. They say that usually a fresh death doesn't appear right off the bat because it's fresh. They're still trying to figure things out. Okay, well, she had come over to our house one evening. Okay, and she had all these different crystals, and she did I'm not going to say like a seance, but she was, had a couple different pieces of equipment that she used. Okay. She sat at the kitchen table and she just started talking to us about stuff, and she went into the zone. Okay. And it took her about 5-10 minutes to go into the zone. We didn't really say a whole lot to her because we wanted her to be able to get into whatever was going on. Okay. And she says she could feel the presence of his grandmother in the house. Okay. She'd never met his grandmother. Now, there is a photo of her and her husband on the wall in our living room. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we decided to move everything to the living room and so forth. And she got settled in and whatnot. But she was still in the zone. And about not even 15 minutes into this process, I guess you would call it, she said, okay, I feel her here. And I see something going on. And she had asked Kev, because he was sitting in the front of her. is the picture behind me a picture of your grandmother? And he said, yes. And she looked behind her and she said, that's who I'm talking to. And she went on about a few things that, was going on in the current world, in the past, and so forth. And she was telling Kev stories through his grandmother about what she was going through and how she was doing.
That nobody knew.
But nobody. It wasn't. No, it was just some stories that she was. She had made some comments that he was saying, that he was thinking about, that he had done, that I never even knew about.
Oh, shit.
And it was touching. It almost brought us to tears, to be honest with you, because it was wild. But I felt her. So it's okay to be skeptical, but don't ever discount it. And I know you don't discount it, but people do discount it because they think that, these people are weird and crazy and they don't know what they're talking about. But we have had it firsthand.
There's a lot of them out there that just wish they could do that make everybody more skeptical of it.
Right.
And then you have the few that can reach
And
out
that's okay.
and are able to do that. And then people don't trust it until they're like told something that only they know.
And that's, perfectly understandable. I mean, like, I'm not going to say I didn't believe it because, I've been watching stuff like this for a long, 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 long time.
I was still watching stuff like that before this happened, but I was more skeptical until that happened to me. Once that happened to me, and I felt that emotion, and I don't usually get emotional like that. And that was like some of the rawest feelings I've ever had before. And it was not a bad feeling, it was a good feeling. But a lot of people look at that like, well, you didn't see her. And I'm like, well, I don't have to see her. I know how she. I mean, like, I knew how my grandmother hugged. I knew how my grandmother touches.
Did you get like a smell of her perfume or anything like that?
This is something more recent. This actually happened to me the other day, as a matter of fact. Actually, it was maybe about 4 or 5 days ago. I lost both of my last living grandmothers last January and February. While you're reading.
Oh, sorry. I mean, PK said that's badass to hear. Kayla, do you know anyone in the area that could do stuff like that? I know I would give my I know I give my in-ring career to be able to hire a chance to have any kind of
have the chance to have any kind of contact with my cousin. Well, like I said, here's a story for you. Like I was trying to say before he brought up the comment. The other day, or actually it was last week when we had some family in town for Easter. I had this big blanket that I had gotten for my grandmother that I left in my trunk. It's been in my trunk. It had been in my trunk for probably like the last 2 years. Okay. Just something for whatever. And I took it out of my trunk because I was going to pick up a relative from the airport. And I figured I'd make room for her luggage and so forth. And I put it in our room. And this was from her house. Okay. A couple days later, after, picking her up and so forth, and just like kind of being here and chilling out in the room or whatnot, there was something I was trying to find to wear for the day. And I picked up this shawl that I'd worn like a long time ago that I haven't worn in a while. And as I was picking up, I just wanted to make sure it didn't smell, like it didn't have like dusty smells or anything, because I hadn't touched it in a while. It smelled exactly like my grandmother's house. Exactly like my grandmother's house. Like I said, I was walking in there, and I could smell her. So, and I still have it over here. But yeah. So they do exist in more ways than you know.
So I put something to the test that day when it happened. I told her to I brought out an EMF reader, and that thing spiked on the shirt. So then I told Mel to move the shirt. No reading at all. So there was a lot of residue energy on that shirt.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I brought that blanket in from my car that I gotten from her. That has the same exact, that came in the exact same bag that she gave me at the company that she used to work for was Sears. So her presence was around and has been around for a while. I don't always notice it, you know.
I don't think a lot of us do.
Sorry if I got a little choked up there. It's just she was really special to me. So, well, they both were actually, but that was like the first time I'd ever encountered that.
That stuff brings you to tears, though. Like, once they die, you expect, that you don't see them again till later on in life.
Right.
Or, well, afterlife.
Yeah, exactly.
So when they show up, or that smell, or the voice, or just any little anything, it chokes you up. It gets to your feelings.
Sure does.
I feel like demons do that, too. Like, unlike just the ghosts, you know how people go in and they're all like, oh, something flew across the room, or there's bad energy in here, and things like that. Like, I don't think that's all just demonic energy either. I feel like the demons are more gonna be like, if you lost a child or something, maybe they'll have like a child voice or something trying to get what I'm trying to say out, but like bring you in, like it like changes his form to your weakest.
Have you ever gotten a cold chill?
Yes, plenty of times.
I ever wonder if those cold chills means a spirit passed through you, like, quickly. People never think about that. Like, oh, I got this cold chill. But I've always wondered if maybe that's a spirit passing through you instantly,
I do feel like it has something to do with the spirit and the energy, because like you can definitely tell the cold chill that goes through you or around you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, you can I went into Singer. There's a place called Singer, a mental institution place thing out here. And a lot of it was really, really dark. And like you could get the chills and you would get the bad feelings, and then you'd walk through some of it and it was a lot of light. Like you could just feel all the weight off your shoulders, I guess. Like, have you ever just walked into a complete different room and just lost all the bad feelings that you had in the last room?
Yep.
Like,
sure have.
Speaking of the grandmothers, after the whole thing happened with my grandmother, 2 months after that, it was Christmas time, and none of my parents, me or my brother, have never bought. We never had one of those little music boxes. There was a music box that was playing upstairs in the attic. We found the box and it was brand new, just sitting there. And I'm sitting there thinking, did she leave a gift?
Actually, it was a music box that I just happened to encounter in the attic.
Yeah, that was going on.
I was looking through some stuff in the attic, and I just happened to notice that this music box was in there, but I didn't even know what it was. His mom actually realized what it was. It was like, I've never seen this before in my life.
All these little Raggedy Anns. You see these?
Oh, wow. Look at these. Wow. Raggedy Anns. Wow.
This music right here goes off all the time by itself.
Wow.
My daughter has a big thing with these Raggedy Anns. Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We all know. We all know Annabelle was We all know Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched the Annabelle movie after she ended up with these things. And then she put two and two together that, hey, that's the same doll. And now she loves it more.
Yep.
Yep, both of my daughters. One of them likes the creepy porcelain doll things, and the other one likes the Raggedy Anns.
I love porcelain dolls. I think porcelain dolls are so beautiful.
So scary.
I know they're creepy and all that kind of stuff, but I don't find them creepy. I find them absolutely amazing. People think I'm nuts for thinking that, dolls are cool and all. I'm like, it doesn't scare me. They don't scare me at all.
I don't know. I've had some really creepy stuff happen with dolls. I'm not a big doll liker. Like, they're lucky they have their dolls in here.
Well, one of the pictures you sent me before, Kayla.
Yeah, can you bring any of those up?
I think I can try. Yeah, I have to go in our. I have to go way up in our chat to find it, but I think I can.
I don't think it's that far up in our chat. Well,
No.
maybe a little bit. That's because you talk too much. I'm just mocking you.
What game you playing over there?
I am playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
You kicking ass? You smiling?
I'm trying to. I am. I'm trying to. But sometimes, this game can be stupid.
She's become quite a little badass on there.
Do what now?
So you become quite the little badass on there.
She's got that serious look, like, die, motherfucker.
Let me ask
well, that's why I said I know how to walk and chew gum at the same time,
While I'm looking for this, Kayla, have you guys done guys have done some paranormal stuff? Have y'all come across a demon?
See, that's the hard thing to say. Like, I've had things move, I had things touch me, I've had marks show up on me, but who's to say that's an actual demon? Like, there's good and bad people on Earth, right? Alive. So why does it have to necessarily mean it's a demon just because something happened like that? Like, I believe in demons, don't get me wrong, I do. I just don't feel like every bad presence that people come across is a demon.
It's not.
It's not.
So, but there was one time in my own house that I'm living in now, me and my wife were walking upstairs and we had our food and whichever, and our hands were full, right? And she likes to grab my butt as I walk up the stairs type thing or whichever. And I was walking up and my butt got grabbed. And I did this little pushed my butt back at her like, oh, you want to grab my butt. And I turned around and her hands were full. And I was like, oh no. I guess at the same time something grabbed her too. Going up the stairs of our house. Just wanted to get a nice on our butts.
Right.
That was probably one of the weirdest ones, to just physically be touched and you really thought it was them. Like, I was smiling and everything. I was like, ee! And then I turned around and I was like, oh. Like, you didn't do that. Your hands
they like to get touchy-feely sometimes too.
Have you ever had anything have you ever had sex and then had a fucking paranormal experience afterwards?
No. Have you?
All right. Well, if I'm ever something about this house, if we had sex or whichever like that, it's something weird would happen later on.
Right.
The orbs I have cameras all over my house. The orbs will start shooting crazy, or you'll hear sounds or dark images or just shadows.
Yeah.
Like nothing really seemed to want to hurt us here, but like they're here. There's more. There's a lot here. I wish I had more info on this house that I'm living in. Like I can probably
Yeah,
go
this
up to my cameras right now and set you guys there, and you could probably see orbs floating across it. Middle of daytime.
I mean, there's so much stuff, isn't there?
What?
He's bringing up the pictures now.
I'm trying
All
to.
right.
He's working on bringing it. He's finally found them.
Well, let's see. One in particular. If I can get this up. Yeah, I heard about that Call of Duty one year Kashmir. Looks pretty good. Alrighty. Hopefully I can don't mess this up too bad. So explain this one, Kayla. We're looking at it right here.
All right. This one was in Broadhead, Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
Can you like zoom it in just a little? Is there a way to do that?
No.
I know
No.
you can see that's my wife right there, and that's my kid. But you see this transparent figure right there?
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That
On the
thing.
left side?
I don't know what that is, but I feel like it showed up in 2 of my pictures of that night. But it's a place called Broadhead, Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
This place was over by the Sugar River.
This is right there.
And we were just out there about to go trick-or-treating and whichever. There was nothing around us. And I was just going through the pictures later on, and there it was. And then we went to a pizza place after we were done trick-or-treating, and I took a picture, and I'm sure you have that one too. And I feel like it's the same thing that's standing in the window.
Let me look at the ones. There were some that said they were untouched, so I'm trying to get them.
That one was at a place called Hell's Playground. Not that one, but the one with my little boy before. No.
Yeah, let me go back to. I'll go back to.
All right, we're in an Audi TT. Okay, he's not even supposed to be in the back seat. That motherfucking car's not supposed to have a back seat, but
Yeah,
he's in there.
It
And
looks like
I don't know, like you could just see the teeth. Like if you could really zoom in on that picture, there's no way to get him behind him in my car. My car is tiny. It's tiny.
and it looks. It really looks like the spirit's got its hands on your kid's head. That's what I'm looking at. It looks like it's grabbing your kid's hand, like head, like that with his hands, and
Like
that's
around
something.
his ears right there.
Yeah.
Like a vice grip almost.
I kind of see that more now, and that's great sending it to you guys. You might see more than I did, but I was looking at like the mouth on this thing. It has teeth. Like that is not my son.
So, where were these pictures here? Where were
This
you guys?
was all right.
Sorry.
That
sorry.
last one was at a school off of Kishwaukee in Rockford.
Oh, this
Nope,
one right
that
here.
was at Singer.
Okay.
Yep. This one, if you could zoom in and out of that, there's like a whole family that was sitting there. The one before that.
Oh, geez. I'm trying to.
I know.
Unfortunately, we can't zoom in when it's on screen. It's a shared screen.
Yeah.
This thing right here, you can kind of see like the Grim Reaper looking like pickaxe thing right there is see-through as hell. That person is see-through as hell. Like that
Actually,
was in a school off of Kishwaukee. Old
hey, you
campus.
have a second picture of your kid and your lady right here. So
Yes, that thing is fucking creepy as hell.
And you can make out like an eyeball a possible nose, a mouth.
Here.
That mouth, though, it's like it has
like a fang.
that picture. Still, it gives me the creeps. Like,
I can see why.
definitely. And that's the other picture where it's in the background. I mean, I know it's really hard to see on here. And I haven't even really showed these pictures. Like, I have them on a site, but I had the site blocked off until I put the rest of the pictures I have up.
Right.
I think I might have an
This is
answer.
the first time I'm actually showing it to anybody other than you guys.
Right.
So,
I think I might have an answer to what's going on. Your wife, her photo right here, she has an upside down cross that's painted on her head.
yeah, I did that.
So that right there
That
is,
could be one of the reasons why
yeah. So that's kind
it
of,
might have showed up because,
That, and we were right around this place called Hell's Playground. So, like, I don't know, because I've never seen no demonic figure like that or had any feeling of that. This looks like there was two kids down in the field. This was also out there by Sugar River.
yeah. I can see the two.
Yeah, I
I
remember
can
those
see. I can
pictures
see the
too.
two kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure we get this one here.
So we gotta go on. There's my little card with my little mini ghost hunters.
Oh,
Thought that was
They
so
loved
cool.
it so much. I just wish it wasn't so. Now this one's interesting. This is one of the very first ones I actually caught. This one's at Blood's Point in Cherry Valley.
Right.
Off Pool Road. There's a bridge that these people were hung on over there. It was like some sort of prom queen and witches or whichever were hung off this bridge. I'm not sure the exact true story because you know how that stuff goes. But there's definitely a lady hanging there. Like, you can see the tape over her mouth and gown, and like you can see it.
the one with the white gown, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to see a little.
You can even almost make out her hand, the hand.
Her
The hand
hands
right here.
You can see like at least two or three, 4 fingers right there.
Yep. But that's, to me, that's the people that got hung there. Like, now this one was kind of cool too. Like, you wouldn't think anything of it,
No,
but if you zoom up into this right corner over here,
like right in this area.
I think it's the next picture because I'm pretty sure I already zoomed it in for you when I sent it to you. Yeah. There's a screaming boy, demonic looking boy right there. And there was nothing else in this room. And I wasn't even the one that found that. It was actually the lady that was in there. Just sent her the pictures that I took. And she's like, "Did you see this?" And then I went back through it and then I saw it. Like, it was just barely hiding there in the corner.
So this
Pretty
one,
badass, huh?
so this one's mine right here. Okay, so anybody that has me on Facebook, if you want to see it later, I can send it to you. But this one was during my tour. We were at the Bb Kings Nightclub downtown Nashville. Now, the buildings downtown are still like they were back in the 1800s. Like they just.
Well, they hadn't changed until we had a bombing back in 2020. So.
Yeah, on Christmas bombing. But this right here is we were all downstairs in Bb Kings. Now, I'll explain a little story to the Bb Kings Nightclub. Before it became Bb Kings Nightclub, it was it used to be a part of the Maxwell House. So if anybody knows Maxwell Coffee, it was a part of that. But during the Civil War, it was a place where they held. It's a place where they held slaves at. They had chained slaves in there, and that we can't see in the dark because we were in the dark that day. But usually they have like bullet holes. You can actually see the hanging nail where they had the people hung at. This one, a woman from Georgia came and she took the photo and sent it to me the next day. I had to double take. Mel had to double take it. But if you look next to this exit sign right here, No one was down there but us and the customers. And there's this woman with this white
If
Southern
you
Belle
look under
dress.
the exit sign, there's like a mist below it.
It has like almost black hair too. So it's it was creepy to say the least. But like I said, anybody that doesn't see it, I can send it later to people. But yeah, I mean,
Sorry, my kids are rude.
You're good.
here's here's a story.
You tell them, girl.
Here's a story for people. We have a buddy who's in the military, and him and his ex-wife at the time came to one of my tours, which I was supposed to charge them, but I got them there for free because they're friends. So I ain't gonna,
I was gonna say.
I ain't gonna say anything. But
Oh no, guys, my computer is dying. Hold up.
Okay.
okay,
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
You need to plug it in, yo.
I'm running. You can keep going. The guy
Okay.
did.
So we were doing a tour at the Bb Kings Nightclub, and we were actually upstairs, and I was giving them the tour of what the place was and how President Theodore Roosevelt fits into this whole situation. Um, but there is because the First Avenue and Second Avenue of downtown Nashville used to be a part of the Civil War. It was a stopping place. There's a spirit that comes around there called the Gray Man. He's like a Confederate soldier, and you see him in different buildings. You see him at the Ryman. It used to be the Grand Ole Opry for you country music fans out there. But I could
You
tell.
plugged up now?
Yeah, I'm plugged up. I'm just not where I wanted to be. But we're good.
No, but I could tell that
It happens.
I could tell something happened that day while I was giving the tour. Him and his ex-wife are sitting right there, and I come around him, and I felt this really cold spot. The place was warm, but there was a cold spot right on my friend Walker's body, right there on his chair, and then he started to feel it. And our friend Walker is usually not afraid of anything. He had to leave the tour early that day.
We felt like maybe he was being slightly possessed by something because he was military, and maybe there was some kind of a military presence from like back in the 1800s that was there, and was oh, okay, there's this guy who's former military or current military or what have you, and I want to know what he's all about.
He said he had to when they got up to their car and drove off. It took him at least 20 minutes for that feeling to go away.
No, actually, he said as soon as he left the place, he had to. It took it like when he got to the car, the thing was actually following him, but then it vanished once they left. So this thing left the premises, followed them a little bit to their car, and then left afterwards. He just felt it from the time that they left. I mean, he was not doing very well at all. He was very angry. He's like, I need to leave. This is not cool. I don't like this.
When he told me
when
he
you
was,
start feeling like that, you probably should leave.
Yeah.
He told me like, what's weird when he was leaving, and he gave me a hug or stuff like that. His face, his eyes were just like, I'm about ready to kill somebody.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, you need to go. I mean,
he just didn't look happy. And that's what spirits can do. They can either make you.
And that's the scariest part thing about spirits. Like he was just saying, I'm sorry to cut you off. But
oh, you're fine.
But yeah, like they can make you think and like be angry and just emotional, and like it's weird how they can make you feel these things. Like they're not just roaming around flying through walls. Like there's so much more to it.
There's attachments too, and and I tell people when you go to like when you go to like an antique mall and you see something really cute, you don't know what's attached to that item that you're about to buy.
No, those antique stores, man.
Antique stores are badass, but they are
Or-
definitely haunted.
Yeah, so you have to be very, very, very.
I
careful.
like going to antique stores. I don't mind feeling it. I really don't. But I remember when this was several years ago, we had gone down to this town about 45 minutes south of here. It's a town called Murfreesboro. And I'm in Murfreesboro back in the 1800s, maybe even
The 1800s.
1800s, was it? There was a thing called the Battle of Murfreesboro.
It was a Civil War.
It was a Civil War thing.
Yeah.
And we drove through. We were meeting up with somebody back at the time, like this water hole or whatnot. And in order to be able to get there, we had to drive through this damn battlefield area, this former battlefield area. And as we were driving through it, he could feel like so much negativity.
I could feel like something just shot me.
He felt like his chest was like, caving in. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel good right now. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I just don't feel good. I feel like somebody's literally sitting on me like a Mack truck and I can't breathe. And
then as soon as you left the area, you were able to breathe, right?
And then exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. That stuff is just crazy. Like, we went to another place in Whitewater, Wisconsin. And it's like the Witches of Whitewater. There's like 3 cemeteries that
I heard that story.
Yes.
I've heard that story, yeah.
And well, basically there's this statue there in the middle of this college town. Like, I was driving on roads that I'm pretty sure were not roads. But anyway. I went up to this Abraham Lincoln statue, and it was lightning all night. And we were checking out. There was like the axe murderer in one of these cemeteries, and then there was like some other witch buried in another cemetery, and then there was somebody else there that was buried. Mary Worth, that one witch, that's what it was, or whichever, was buried in one of these cemeteries. And I was, for some odd reason, I'm not afraid of lightning, but for some odd reason, I was very iffy about lightning all night, freaking out. I'm gonna get motherfucking electrocuted. This is not working out for me. La-di-da. And then I went home and I read up about the Abraham Lincoln statue, and come to find out, there was like a whole lot of bodies buried around there, and they dug them all up except for like 2. And the 2 bodies that were left there, one of them died of fucking lightning.
Wow. That's intense.
Now,
but that's pretty awesome at the same time.
Well, here's the cool thing is, it's really cool to ghost hunt around the time of storms, because spirits can actually get energy from electricity, and they can gain that. We went to a cemetery where my grandmother's buried at. There's 2 different sides. There's one where it's the newer side, and there's the one that's the older side with the Confederates and Union soldiers. We found one where it looked like someone was buried with an Egyptian looking. And then Mel found it goes way deep down there, and she finds this one. It's kind of sad. A small little headstone that says Mother, Father, Son, Daughter. All it says.
And it said Mother, Father, Son, Daughter, Child, and Baby. Well, no, not child. It was baby.
Yeah.
It was weird. There were no actual physical names on them. There was just Mother, Father, Daughter, Son. It's almost like they kind of, I don't know if it was a joke.
No, I think someone might have that.
But it was just like,
that would feel like a joke, though. Like, if you're dead, like, you need your name on the damn thing. Like, come on.
Right? I'm like, how in the world do you put somebody, just identify them as Mother, Father, unless, it was just weird. I mean, I wish we had gotten a photo of it, because they were like literally a whole row of them. It was like a whole family of unknown people.
And what's interesting too, Another experience that I have is
Unless that's how they were identified back in the day, because the cemetery that his grandmother's buried at has two different types. It has two different sides. It has the old side and the new side.
Mm-hmm.
And we went walking through the old side one day, and it was pretty cool, actually, in my opinion. Very peaceful at a cemetery.
Very. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just bring kids and go walk through the cemetery or whatever.
Right?
Now, this happened to me twice, and this has something to do with a former president, our seventh president, Andrew Jackson. I am part Cherokee, and one year we decided to in October they had this Halloween thing there, and we just gotten over. I don't know if you ever heard of the norovirus, like that stomach virus that happened. We just gotten over it.
It was only a 24-hour thing.
But we were there, and all of a sudden, my stomach was just like, I don't know. It was like just rumbling. Nothing's happening.
Well, that's how he is sometimes on a daily basis. But
no,
I'm just messing.
This was like a different kind of pain.
Yeah.
Like real.
He wasn't happy.
And it was like I pushed through it. Don't get me wrong. I pushed through it, but I wasn't feeling good. So then the next time we went, our same friend who was in the military, him and his ex-wife came with us, and him and Mel went over there near the cemetery where, Jackson and his wife's buried at. I'm standing next to his ex-wife, and there's another lady next to me. And I thought at first this was part of the act, but here comes a man looking like Andrew Jackson coming up to me and growling. And then it just disappears, and I asked him, like, hey, you two were next to me. Did y'all see that? And they said, we don't know what you're talking about. His ex-wife Jess went, Kev, what are you talking about? I didn't see that. I'm like, you were standing next to me. You didn't guys not? And then I asked one of the workers there, like, do you guys have somebody dressed like Andrew Jackson walking around? And they said, no, sir.
And that's what I feel like the demons really do. Like, they can attack just the one person, and just maybe there was something in your head that was making you wanna see Andrew Jackson or whatever the fuck.
I don't know, but it was like but then what's weird was when her and when Mel and our friend Walker went to the cemetery area, they felt like they were being choked.
No, I didn't know. I felt like I was being watched.
Yeah.
I was walking through this. There's like a gazebo, and I took this walkway. It almost kind of looked like going through like a greenhouse type of thing. But there was a path that led through the cemetery area where they were both buried. And I just felt like I was being watched. And I didn't like it, and our friend Walker felt the exact same thing. I'm like, we need to go. Something is not right here. Either they're attaching themselves to one of us or whatnot, but this isn't fun. This isn't a good idea right now. We shouldn't be. And we took photos too, and there were orbs everywhere around us.
Especially this big one.
I just went to look up on my camera to see if there was any on there now.
Yeah.
But there's also...
And people can misconstrue orbs for dust particles, and that is very true. They can be considered...
But when you see it going nice and slow, and it's going... Whoop, and
it has a different color to it, and it's... it's something other than a fucking dust particle, okay?
So... Yep. This also happened too. Mel was doing an old friend of ours too was doing a music video because he was like one of those independent rappers, and he was doing it was like a snuff music video, and he asked Mel to be a part of it as one of the victims.
And it sucked.
It sucked though.
Absolutely fucking hated it.
Not only did the video suck, but the rap song sucked. But
the whole thing sucked.
But maybe that's repeat itself the whole time.
And maybe that's the reason why we got haunted by this damn
bitches and hoes.
It was like him like trying to dress like a. I guess the premise of the music video was he had two victims, and it looked like he was trying to be like a Hannibal Lecter Chainsaw Massacre thing,
It was awful. I hated it.
but the biggest thing about that whole situation happened that they had a spirit in their garage, and I can actually one of the points when they went back and filmed it and they played it back, you could actually hear like a.
You could hear a growl sound in the background.
So I take some sage I take some sage from his girlfriend, and I said, and I had my crosses with me. I said, back off, I got this. So I think everybody left, but everybody left the room except for me and Mel. And I told Mel, get behind me.
I've been terrified to bring any sort of cross with me to fucking hunt.
I did.
I don't know why. Like, I know it has an effect on them, but I'm not sure what effect it has. You know what I mean?
But I pretty much was doing the sage, and I asked it, hey, if you don't have permission to be here, you need to leave now. And just pretty much giving it that whole notion, and then it left. But then they told me a couple weeks later it did come back.
But yeah, remember when we were talking about the cross thing on her head? I really feel like that demonic creature showed up because she had a fucking cross on her forehead.
Well, yeah. I just noticed it I didn't notice it before when you sent it to me. I just noticed the picture, but then I did when we looked at it again. I was like, wait a minute, she's got like an upside down cross.
It's the upside down one, yep.
Yeah, and I just like that explains a little bit, but but they actually did say for a couple weeks there, they're like, you actually got rid of it, Kevin, and it came back. But I was like, no, I just told it that doesn't have permission to be here. It needs to leave. And pretty much it's like, look, you have no power here. You have no reason to be here. This ain't your place. Get out. And that's, I mean, I didn't show my cross. I just had the sage. I was just telling it to go. But yeah, they could probably tell that I had something with me too.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never brought it upon myself to go with a cross somewhere and be like, at them. Like, that just, they might come get me. And then what am I going to do?
There's a picture. If I can find it later, I'll send it to Keith. I'll send it to you, Kayla, or anybody that's friends with me on Facebook. If you're watching the video, I'll send it to you too. There's a picture of this couple. We're at this place called Benchmark. And the story about Benchmark in downtown Nashville is there's a man who got charged for murder that he didn't do. His wife was there alone. They were living upstairs at the bar. And his wife got pushed down the stairs and broke her neck. Now, they think that he did it, but at the time, he was at work when it happened. But he got charged for murdering his wife, but they also said there was a spirit there who did not want them to be there. So when you get next to the stairs, you kind of feel wobbly when you get next to the stairs because you can almost feel her presence like you want to jump, like kind of like a jump feeling. But when we got there, one of the other people I worked with showed me a picture, and he took one that was in the dark, and you can actually see the thing screaming, like a spirit screaming, like like you can actually see
like
the
little boy thing that I showed.
Yeah, you can see the silhouette, the hair, the face. It just seemed like it was screaming like that. Was
and
this
a lot of these ghosts that you find, sorry to cut you off, have like a screaming face. Like I'm very curious about it. Like, I'm so ready to learn more. I wish there was
I think a lot of it has to do with, it might have also be how I wonder if it's like a pause in time of when they of when they died.
I don't know, but a lot of the faces that I have caught, they're screaming. Like, they look like they're yelling at you.
Maybe it's their way of trying to communicate.
Trying to scream louder, talk louder type
Yeah,
thing,
like trying to, I don't know. It's like, like how you see in the movies, like with, spirits going,
There's this, well, here's the story I was going to go with that, is there's a point where these couple, I was doing my tour, and the couple decides to take a photo in this mirror, and this mirror looked you know there's attachments to mirror. There's like that veil on the other side.
Definitely.
Yeah, the
That
veil.
is definitely true. I've caught so many orbs coming out of mirrors.
Now this one, they take a photo of me. You see my full body. You see the beanie. You see everything. But my face,
There's something above his face. It looks like what looks like a demonic face.
that took over my face in the
Hmm.
photo. And
It's. I wish. I don't even know where that
we
photo
still
is.
have it. I just have to find it. But
Yeah.
it took it creeped these people out that took the photo. I was like, I said I have no explanation to it, and there's now what I did was I another buddy of ours was a ghost tour with another guy I worked with who actually had his own paranormal thing. I played some of his EDM. I played some of his EVPs for some of the people. I was like, and then I started telling people, hey, if you guys want to bring your own stuff, then I started making it kind of cool. Like, you guys want to bring your own stuff, go ahead. You know, if you want to catch something here, you see something, email it to me. Give it, let me know that you guys see something, because you don't see it right off the bat unless you're looking for it. But Polaroids are very good. I wish I had a Polaroid still. Those things are.
You can still get them, but they're very expensive. You know.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I've always thought that someone told us, an old friend of ours told us one time, what if the spirits from the other realm think that they're alive and they think that we're dead? So when they haunt us, they're scared of us because they think that we're the ones that are dead and they're the ones that are alive. And it creeps them out. And I'm like,
You know about the very thin line between our world and their world is around 3 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
the witching hour.
The witching hour. Yep. I'm total believer of that too.
And
But
that's the thing is, believe it or not, lately he's been having some sleep issues, and whenever he wakes up in the middle of the night, it'll be around that time, like 3:11 in the morning. Like, I've looked at the time, it'll say 3:11 in the morning or 3:12 or 3:15. I'm like, what is going on? Sometimes I feel like somebody's trying to wake him up and trying to keep him up, you know? And that's why he's not getting a good night's sleep half the time, because something's haunting him and I'm not sure what it is. But there is this
that's
one
some
type,
scary stuff.
yeah. And there's this piece of equipment that I really, 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 really want to get, but it's not cheap. But it's something that Ghost Adventures uses a lot, and it's the SLS camera.
Oh yeah, where they
Where
show
they
little
pick up
stick figures and things.
Yes, yes. I want that camera so bad.
Um, I tried a little app thing, and it makes you think about it.
Hmm.
Cause normally you can't trust the apps or whichever, but I did try it one time when I felt like there was something like sitting on the end of my bed,
Yeah.
and sure enough, I put up the app, just the regular phone app, freaking thing on it, and sure enough, there was a stick figure sitting at the end of my bed, and it just
I actually trust some of those apps now because we were helping a friend move. Oh, no, no, no. We were at our friend's house, and her fiance, we came over, and there's like there's a spiritual thing that's attached to her mom's house. But what's funny about this, though, what's strange, is when we came in, me and her fiance came in, on the spirit box, it clearly says, "Hello, James and Kevin."
yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
it knows your name and it knows my name. This is an intelligent little booger.
no, that would freak me out. I've never actually had anything call my name or anything like that, but I've had toys that never worked or didn't have batteries in it go off. I had my son like sleepwalk when he was younger. Like, it was the scariest thing, okay? The very first ghost encounter I ever had, I first moved up to Illinois, and I ended up in this trailer or mobile home or whatever the hell you want to call the damn thing.
Hmm.
Like, little young little kid. and moved me and my son in there. And all of a sudden, like I said, the toys started going off, and then he had an easel, and the letters would start moving, and he's only a year, right?
Right.
I freaking turned off all the lights in the house and stuff and used my little phone light to go back to my room. And this is probably the only time I ever actually cried. Normally, like to get past the bathroom, there was always something creepy in the bathroom. You would hear like digging and knocking and just. I've had animals checked and traps and stuff and all types of stuff. There was always digging in that bathroom and craziness that happened in that bathroom. And it was right before my bedroom. So as I'm walking, I'm looking this way, looking in the bathroom, or whichever, shining the light as I'm walking down the hallway. I open the door, and my son was just standing there sleeping. I almost kicked him, but I cried. Like, I'm sorry, it was just like a habit. Not like, oh, I'm going to kick my 1-year-old, but when you open a door and he's supposed to be in the crib, and he's just standing there when you open the door and it's complete dark and he's sleeping. It just, I don't know, it made me shiver and cry and just, it was not
Aw.
okay. That was one of the worst feelings. And then for some odd reason after that, I was like, oh no, I'm a ghost hunter. I moved into a haunted house. This stuff happened. Now let's go explore.
You know, that's the thing about me. I personally wouldn't care if we lived in a haunted house. I like the idea of that sort of thing.
It's okay until you want something. It's like every time you want something, your computer, your other sock, like whatever the fuck you actually want, like you just set down your phone, it's gone. Like it will come back when you want it to.
Right.
Fucking toothpaste, the bathroom's only this big, all right? There's nothing, it's clean, there's no reason for my toothpaste to be gone. I just brushed my teeth. I go get the toothpaste for my kids to brush their teeth. The motherfucker's gone. Like that's the worst thing. You go find an outfit or you had it together and then like it's just where the fuck is it?
Oh, wouldn't it be kind of funny if like a ghost ever got into a wrestling ring and pulled down a wrestler's pants? I would actually think that would be kind of funny, but if that ever happened,
I would think they did it on purpose. They
yeah,
wore the fat pants that day.
you wore the wrong pants, man. You
Pull
wore
up
the
your
wrong.
pants and do the muscle man dance.
You wore the wrong tights today, buddy. No, but yeah, I mean it doesn't happen all the time now at certain hours. There's sometimes it'll happen. I'll wake up at 4, I'll wake up at 5, or sometimes at 2, and it's like as soon as I go in the living room, I sleep just fine. It's almost like when I'm in the room, it's like no.
I get that. Like
And
But the thing about it is that I like to know if there's anything in our room because he leaves it a lot. And I'm like, well, maybe I should there's something I should be concerned about.
but there is something
he
that's
leaves the room a lot during the night and goes
Yes.
up there and sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, there's probably something alarming then. Something is attacking him. Like for
I
him to
don't
just
feel it.
get out in the middle of the night and be more comfortable on the couch. Yeah.
I don't feel it though. That's the strangest thing. I have an empath ability and I don't feel it. That's the craziest thing. I don't feel anything. I just feel like I just have a lot of sleep. I've always had some sleep problems for a long time. That's not. There's some times though where I have slept through and been fine and nothing's happened or anything like that. But
Just like sometimes you can go to a haunted place and nothing happen at all. You feel like a perfect freaking la la land place, and then the next time you go, you feel that darkness.
Right.
and that's another thing with skeptics too. They always like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so if ghost hunters went here And then Ghost Adventures will hear, why did Ghost Hunters didn't get anything, but Ghost Adventures did? And it's like, because
because haunts don't happen at the same place twice simultaneously.
Unless it's a
Ghosts don't work that way.
Going somewhere expecting it just to happen is probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you go,
smoke a blunt and just sit back and fucking enjoy yourself, and then it's gonna happen. All right, and then you're gonna be super scared because you were enjoying yourself.
I think that's the reason why there are so many skeptics, is because they expect things to happen to prove their theory, to prove that they're not crazy, or that they're not, right or wrong, or something along those lines. And I look at it like, you have to give it time. I mean, these investigations can take hours. They can take days before something will show up.
You can walk into the most haunted place in the world and nothing fucking happens.
Exactly. And you can walk into the least haunted place on the planet and everything will happen,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people just get too judgy when it comes down to the afterlife.
But here's something too. The one thing I'll also say,
And then maybe I should tell them this story about what I said about Lorraine Warren when she passed away.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Lorraine Warren and Ed Warren, right? Okay. Well, this was the thought that came to my mind after Lorraine Warren had passed away, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lorraine Warren got together for a split second in my mind, because sometimes
in your mind,
in my mind.
Okay. I was like, what?
Hold this thought for just a second here. Okay, hear me out when I say this. Okay. So Lorraine Warren was, spirit enthusiast along with her husband and so forth. They did a lot of investigations. And then you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had the one side where he would say occasionally, "This is all bullshit."
This is all bullshit.
Pull it together, and you have Lorraine Warren. She passed away several years ago, and the first thing that she notices in her mind is, "Oh my God!" In her voice, in Arnold's voice, going like this, "It was all bullshit." Like, the spirit world, everything she always believed was all bullshit.
I doubt that happened.
I know that's not the case, but it was just a funny thought that came to my mind. I'm like, man, that's probably what she's thinking right now. It's all bullshit. She doesn't know how to tell people that. So bad.
No, but what's interesting too is
it was supposed to be a joke. Nobody got it. It's fine.
I don't know. I got it. I'll tell you this much, because of my empath ability, I have a hard time going to like a funeral home for someone's funeral. Like, and Mel could tell you, when my aunt passed away, I kept going in and out of the building quite a few times because I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't figure out stuff, and I'm like,
feeling everybody else's sadness and everything else that was going on there, because your empath ability is not just for paranormal. Like, you feel everybody's fucking feelings.
And I tell her, I was like, whenever we hang out with friends, if I feel someone that's upset about something, it automatically comes right to me, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun. And then I start getting upset or emotional about something, and I'm like, damn it. Clear your head. Go outside. Smoke weed. Do something. Just get away from me. She's throwing one up.
I was like, it's about a good time.
YouTube, if you see this, she's got a cataract issue,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the, like, how many people do you have on your team, Kayla? Like, if you go and do paranormal, like, how many people do you have on your team usually?
All right, there's always people that want to act like they want to be a part of it, and then they might go to like one, and
then never come back.
But my main person on my team is my wife.
That's cool.
And like I said, her sister likes to come too. And then oh no, I had my friend Veronica that used to come with me, but she just had a baby and stuff, so she's gotta chill out and be mama right now.
Do you have
But we
any?
had a few people that went with us. It was great. I had this one girl go with me though, and she was like super wanna be a witch type girl or whichever. Always after like things happened around her and
Right, right,
weird stuff like that. And I had my gun and we were just gonna go shoot it a couple times out in the middle of the country. There was nothing, nowhere, no houses, no nothing, right? Middle of the country, Bloods Point. Freaking I don't know. I got out of the car. I let my friend shoot the gun once. And then I got out and I shot it twice. And my one friend that was the witchy like friend was in the car still. When I shot it the second time, we heard a blood curdling ass scream from inside the car. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was just.
it kind of made you think: did the bullet bounce somewhere and hit her in the damn car or something? I mean, get that.
It was so loud and just. It was honestly one of the scariest ones I've ever honestly encountered because, like, it was just a scream. Normally, like, a growl would be weird and scary and stuff, but this scream, it was so
Piercing.
almost demonic type, like
Yeah.
just fucking scream out of nowhere. And we hopped in that car so fucking fast. My friend was peeing while I was shooting. Like, I don't even think she wiped. Like, we hopped in that car so motherfucking fast.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, that was Blood's Point, like, and it was on one of those days that just felt like nothing was gonna happen. It was bright day, like out there, the sky. Like if you ever look at the sky,
Yeah.
it's darker on the days that you feel like something's gonna happen, and then it's like lighter on the days that nothing happens. It's just weird.
Something tells me that someone got shot there. So when you guys were shooting,
Something was pissed the fuck off that I shot my gun for sure.
yeah, that's what I'm gathering from that. 'Cause that I mean, but speaking of which, though, since you do like guns, what kind of gun do you have?
It
I'm
was
just
a
kind
38 special, little pink 38 special that I was shooting. Little
of,
girl gun.
well, she used to be very scared of guns until we went to a gun range and she shot the 38, and then the
Oh
next time,
yeah, that was her first gun to shoot.
Yeah.
the next time we went, we brought her entire family with us, and while they're over there asking me, "Hey, can you load or reload?" Mel's over there doing it for everybody, and this was like a Glock.
I wasn't doing it for everybody. I was just doing it for my. I just,
She started. You see
I
that?
want. I have to get over certain things by doing it.
This is what happens when I teach her things. If I teach her wrestling, she starts doing it better than I do. If I teach her how to shoot and load, she starts unloading and loading faster than me.
It has nothing to do with being. He thinks I'm always in competition with
No.
you for some reason.
No, she just does things a little. She just seems to do things.
I'm just competitive.
Yep.
But I don't do it
You,
intentionally.
girl. Don't feel bad.
I don't.
So it's actually funny though, because that's what I'm gathering. You told me that story about the gun shot there. I was like, I'm thinking maybe these couple of spirits got shot there, or someone brought someone over there, and got killed with a gun, and maybe
Right around that same area, like one of the very first times I went out to Blood's Point,
Mhm.
um, I brought this girl Ashley and her husband Brett. And he was a big non-believer, whichever. He's like, you don't fuck with spirits, even if they are real. He just didn't want anything to really do with it, but he was there for Ashley, right? He
Right.
ended up falling asleep in the back seat, and we approached this bridge, and he like popped up out of nowhere, it just kind of popped up, and we kind of made fun of him because he acted like he was scared in the back seat, and we were talking to him, and we were stopped right before the bridge, watching the bridge and taking pictures and whichever. And then, like, as soon as we turned forward, there was two figures that hopped off the freaking bridge. I caught one of them, and Ashley said that she saw two of them. But like that area is just crazy. And then that same night, right after we told him about that, he was like, "All right, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here." So we turned around and we started going up Wheeler Road to get back to 20 or whichever. I'm acting like you know this place, but maybe you
Uh,
will eventually. But
if you tell me paranormal stuff, yeah, I'm
it,
kind of curious
it
now.
was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We're about to head back and stuff, 2:30 maybe, and we saw this guy with this headlight thing on, with a light on it, walking his dog. All right. We drove by, didn't think nothing for it for a second. I was like, wait, who the fuck walks their dog at 3 in the fucking morning? So I stopped immediately, turned back around. It's a country road, drove back, and the motherfucker's gone. Like, we didn't go far. Like, I stopped, like, turned back around. There's no light, there's no dog. Like, it's country road. There's no houses for him to just venture off to. That place is really cool.
Well, speaking of animals, and a lot of people need to understand that cats and dogs can see and sense things more than we can,
Actually, soaking kids.
so can kids. But animals, for some reason, are your very good prime example. Bless you. Or a prime
Thank
example
you.
of if something's there, and especially if they're looking at the wall and they're like, and this, or they're barking at something. There's something on the wall. It could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad spirit. It could be just like a regular spirit. It could be a family member and they don't know who it is. And they're just like, animals can definitely detect stuff. Now, the reason why with kids are just easy because they have a wide range of imagination.
The kid thing scares the shit out of me.
I
Because
know.
my youngest son is autistic. And sometimes he likes the la la gaga wada la in between his words, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets the words out, but he has this other junk he wants to throw in there too. And like to have your kid just all of a sudden start talking in the middle of the night and just it happens a lot. Like, and I don't know if it's because he doesn't communicate like the rest of the kids yet and can tell me like, "Hey mom, there's a whatever over there doing this and this." It's more like, "Hey mom, scary
What's up, bud?
gaga la la la." Like
Right.
I'm,
Get it.
Well, see,
I
the
don't
thing is,
know. That stuff's scary. The kids,
yeah, the kid,
talking to your kids and them just rocking and walking and talking to things that you can't see is just. It's why I don't bring my kids to very many places. There's a couple little set places that I will bring them to ghost hunt with me.
you want to know something spooky I heard the other day? This is around the time of Easter, but there's this place in Rome. It was in actually no, actually it was in Jerusalem. It was a school in Jerusalem who was reenacting the whole Jesus Christ and the crucifixion thing. This kid who was playing Jesus was carrying a teenager was carrying the cross. He ended up dying while carrying the cross.
Yeah.
And then the guy Jim Caviezel that played Jesus in Passions of the Christ said that while they were filming and he was on the cross, lightning struck him and went through his ear.
Yep.
Yo, fuck that.
So I mean, there's some pretty powerful
My
stuff.
girlfriend said that they stopped. Her and her sister stopped going to church because they were watching some sort of play, and Jesus hopped off the cross and ended up crawling under their seat crying.
That's intense.
That's intense. Okay.
And they never went back to that church. They ended up crying too.
I can see why. I could definitely see why.
I was the play that bad that Jesus didn't want to hear it, and it was like
I
freaked
don't
it.
know. He
You know what I
hopped
mean?
off of whatever the fuck he was doing up there and cried under their seat. Just for, I
Damn.
don't know. I
Now,
wasn't there for that one. That was something she brought up to me. But we did that Easter egg hunt. I don't know if you saw the video of that with the helicopter and things that
yeah.
dropped the eggs on my Facebook. That was the church, I guess. Who would have guessed?
Wow.
I didn't know that. I just brought her there. I was like, "There's an egg drop over here." Weird how things work out like that.
OED.
So I have a buddy who just said to go set on some EODs, Kev. I have set on people that were
What
actually
is an OED?
wasn't OED. So I can figure it out. But there's another part where I don't.
I'm reading that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll put it up. Sorry. What was it?
What is that?
Orders,
Right, exactly. What
no,
is that?
it's orders of emergency detention.
Okay. Explain more.
Yeah,
I need to know.
exactly.
One of the studies that I've been trying to figure out for a while is what the paranormal and mental health have in common. And I've been trying to figure that out
That
for a
has
while.
a mix to it too. God, I wish I knew more. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I read her study and figured that out because, you know, can people with mental health, is it really mental health or is it stuff bothering you that's making you?
I think
But
I think the other stuff that's out there, people just want to market real quick as mental health instead of there could be a possibility of other shit. Like this person could possibly be sick and possibly need some sort of exorcism or whatever the fuck.
he pretty much
The
said,
orders of emergency detention is what they put you in before they commit you.
ah, yeah, I know what he's talking about now.
All
I know what
right.
he's talking. Yeah, I know what he's
So
talking
now
about.
we have a definition.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about now.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get myself arrested to do that anytime soon, but yeah, I've heard that there's actually a prison that used to be here. It's called the Tennessee State Prison. We used to call it the Walt Disney Castle on crack because it was just incredibly
And unfortunately, that place closed down. When did that place close down?
years ago. But now they have a thing where they have ghost tours and they have like there's a guy who put up one of those one of those drones. He went in there with it and while he went to every room, he got up to like a second floor. The drone got smacked by something. And then it was like the drones is going like this, and all of a sudden,
Buy a $200 drone.
bye bye,
Right.
yeah, bye bye, drone. Yeah, pretty much. And I have an uncle that was in that prison at one point, and
You said something about Disney World. All right.
it looks like Disneyland. It looks like Disneyland. The castle looks like a cracked up
You
Disneyland.
hear all the stories about Disney World and the hauntings and how every year they have to stop people from throwing ashes around Disney World, that most of the dust around Disney World is actually bodies because they have to arrest someone almost every month for like so many people go there to spread their ashes of their loved ones, like on all the rides and on all like ponds, and like it's so haunted. And they actually had real bones on what ride was that? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride, or I don't freaking know. But I don't know, that Disney stuff. You gotta look that up. That was pretty interesting. There was talking about this Jaws ride. This what made me stop. It said, I remember riding this Jaws ride as a kid, and you get on it, and it has the little mechanical shark, and it comes and like hops out and does a story, and you're on the little boat, and the dude's telling the story and things. Well, while I was on that ride, I saw a little fish off the side of the boat, and I was like, "Oh, cool! Like, normal kid stuff. It's fish, da 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 da." And this fucking mechanical shark goes, tried to eat me, right, motherfucker. Fucking scared the shit out of me. Now, if you go and you watch why they closed it down, is because they had like 2 or 3 people that ran the boat that were the only ones to run it. That dude ended up committing suicide and things, and someone else said that the shark like felt like it came at them. It's built on some sort of Indian burial ground or whichever, and now that's where the new Harry Potter world is. And like,
That's the thing about
really,
Indian burial grounds. That's the thing about Indian burial grounds. I mean,
I completely believe it. I think that shark tried to eat me, and I saw that fucking video. I was like, that makes motherfucking sense.
Well,
I mean, you're
Well,
not wrong.
Well, here's something Prodigal Hill said that I have seen people that talk in a way of multiple voices, like at once, like a male and female voice together is definitely interesting. And PK said they took the skeleton out of the pirates, but yeah, they used to have a real human skeleton for years.
They still
Oh,
do. They still had a couple left. They thought they took them all out, but I guess there's still a couple left. There's real skeletons.
oh my god, yeah. Posted said Mecha Jaws, more movie ideas for Kev to make.
He
I
has
could-
to make them first.
I could make
I
a
have to write it first.
I could make a possession shark if you wanted me to go that route. We can talk about that. Maybe, and then it might get put on sci-fi or something like that.
Hey, I like shark movies. I'd watch it. As long as it's not like that Sharknado bullshit.
Hey, come on now.
Oh,
Don't
relax.
knock the Sharknado now,
I
yo.
like the first and third one, by the way. I mean, that's that.
They're all
I
stupid.
watched like 10 minutes of one, and I was like, "This is not it." Maybe.
Well,
20
I mean, they're stupid, but they're funny. They're not supposed to be like, you're not supposed to take them seriously.
You ever get something that's so stupid it's not funny? You
Yes.
ever see those movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Oh shoot. But yeah,
Hey.
look at the scary stuff, everybody. Scary things. Don't hate on NATO. We'll just hate on you instead.
There you go.
Hey,
Just
no,
kidding.
but there's actually
Not wrong.
well, speaking of
Still alive. Heard of it.
speaking of Indian burial ground, there is a story here. It's a town that's about an hour away, Adams, Tennessee, about maybe an hour.
About 45 minutes. It's where the Bellwich Cave is.
The Bellwich Cave.
Is at
the John Bell family. Their house is still standing from the 1800s. Story is that John Bell and his daughter Betsy were being possessed by this witch, or being haunted by this
Get
witch.
off that door. Sorry. Mama Bear just about got them.
Yeah, I noticed.
He said he can deal with that. Laugh out.
Sorry, guys.
No, but there's two conflicting reports about this Bell Witch thing. If you watch American Haunting, I don't know if anybody's ever seen American Haunting with Sissy Spacek and Donald Sutherland, but it talks about the Bell Witch in that one, and pretty much it says that John Bell. It says that the witch poisons John Bell and he dies, everything like that. Well, what they found out though was recently where the Bell family had their plantation at, it was an Indian burial ground. And the cast and Ghost Adventures went to their actually went inside their cave. Rumors are that if you, and I've heard people that have went to the cave and stole the rock from there, they have actually had rocks melt back to them because of how cursed that rocks are. People have actually gotten sick by taking the rocks. And there's an Indian burial ground inside that cave as well. And what's weird about this town? It looks like one of those horror films when you're a visitor and they don't know you. They look at you like, "What's he doing here?" You know, it's almost
And
like
that's how it is in Blood's Point too. Like if you ask them any questions, any of the people around there, they look at
yeah,
you crazy.
Because
they don't want to know.
they don't want you to know what they know.
They don't want to think about it.
I will never forget when me and him drove up to Adams, Tennessee. Like I said, he was going to try and go and visit the Bellwich Cave. And the town can't be more than maybe 200 or 300 people. Not even that. It's a very small town, and you can tell. As we got off the interstate and drove probably about a mile down the road, we saw the signs for the Bellwich Cave coming up, and we turned into this gravel driveway. And there was this gentleman, this older gentleman, probably maybe in his 80s, standing on like the left side of the there was like this field. And on the right, like the left side was a field, on the right side was just gravel, and there was like it looked like a little tent of sorts off into the distance on the right side. Well, there was this guy that was standing in this field. Okay. I don't know why he was standing in the field, but he was looking at us as we were pulling into the driveway. And he just looked like, who the fuck are you? Why the fuck are you here? Get the fuck off my property. It was just one of those faces of like, turn around now before something bad happens to you.
And you remember, I rolled down the window and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, sir, are we in the right place?" He just looked at me.
He just looked at us like we were fucking nuts, like we were aliens from outer space, So I was like, okay, well, I guess this is our turn. This is his way of saying without saying leave. So we left. I mean, we went through Adams for a little bit just to see what the town was all about. But it's very small.
Townspeople look at you weird too.
Well, no, it wasn't the townspeople looking at you. It was just that one guy, but it just looked like he was like far. I don't know. He just didn't seem like he was happy, So we just left, and we never got a chance to go and see the Bellwich Cave. It would have been kind of cool to do so, but it was just the way this guy was looking at us that just creeped us out.
And there was one rumor that goes around that she goes after. She doesn't go after every Bell. The witch doesn't go after every Bell member of the family, but she jumps from generation. Like she went after John Bell, skips one or two, and then jumps after the other one. Like she was doing there was a curse that was put on the Bell family, or apparently some kind of them charging or them stealing something. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was. There's 2 or 3 different stories about it. Some people claim it's an Indian burial ground, and maybe it was an Indian spirit that haunted them, and some people claim that there's a witch. Now there's a woman who went to one of my tours who claimed that she was
related to the Bats family.
Related to the Bats family, who's the one who apparently this lady from the Bats family put the curse on the Bell family. So there's a lot of different.
There's different stories.
Different stories on it.
It's all about what you believe, though.
That singer place that I tried to go to before I had to actually break into it. I mean, not me, but
a woman that looks like you broke into place.
That one.
Are
you sure? You won't say nothing.
Are you sure it wasn't Kate Jones?
Shh. Really?
He's just trying to get a fight going.
Apparently so.
But I went up to the place at Singer, And I was gonna go up there with my ghost hunting cards, and
Right.
I was gonna be like, "Look, bro, because I see you patrolling this in your little truck and stuff. And what do I have to do to get in here? Like, who do I have to talk to or whichever?" So I went up there all professional with my little card and sweet and nice and whichever. And I get up there and he's like, "What do you do here?" I was like, I just need to talk to who do I talk to about possibly being able to get in here? "You can't get in here, get out. I call police." Like,
I got police on you.
I was like, "Okay, okay." I was like, "Are you sure? Like, is there any possible way? Is there anybody ahead of you I can call?" And he just fucking freaked the fuck out on me in a whole nother language too.
Yeah, there are just places that people find very sacred that when other people from like
He
outside
seemed
come through,
legitly scared that I was asking him about it too.
yeah,
Because he probably didn't want to know. He knows about that place. That's why he's like, oh, no.
So we had to hop the fence and go explore it. I had to. It's like it's right down the road for me. It's abandoned. It's a mental institution. And I just absolutely just had to fucking do it. So fuck it.
Speaking of which, there's another spiritual thing that happened when me and Mel did some of our wrestling back in the day. I played back one of the videos one time, and you can actually hear someone go,
I don't remember.
yeah, it was one of those. It was a. I remember I was filming you and somebody else, and it was like when I played it back, I could hear like this weird voice with it that had sound nothing like them two.
Were you in like a basement or something?
No, we were just in a room. It was like the weirdest thing. I was like, okay, well, all right.
Hmm.
Then speaking of military and paranormal, our friend who is a psychic medium, her and another friend of ours decided to go. It's right down the road here, but they decided to go to the military uh, to the military cemetery. They heard everything. Like you can hear like hoofs of horses, you can hear gunshots, you can hear
Drum rolls and things
drum
like
roll. Yeah, and that's something that usually doesn't frighten our friend, but our friend was kind of like, yeah, I'm not going back there again.
No, that stuff doesn't normally scare me, but if somebody's popped out with a freaking ghost gun, I'm still gonna run. Like, I'm still gonna get shot. I've heard stories.
I've seen. Did you go check it out or okay?
Good.
Because I've seen the movie Skinwalker Ranch too.
Yeah, you've seen that
I've
movie.
seen it.
Yeah, you've seen that
Where's
movie.
that at, though? Like, I've seen it.
Oh, I'm not sure where it's at exactly.
Is it in Texas, Poston, where you're at? I was figuring
Yeah,
that out.
probably. A ranch. Texas. Sounds legit.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't live too far from where the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing was filmed or something.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean, I've actually seen like weird phone calls that have happened and phantom phone calls. They said that can happen, and
I've had that happen too. I was investigating a fax place. It's a some sort of like old mailing company, but it
yeah,
said something about the Underground Railroad or some stupid railroad thing was attached with this. And we went in there, and that was like my first legit investigation at a place that actually let us in there and let us set up our equipment and freaking saw orbs going down the stairs one at a time. And then like I went in the basement by myself because I'm one of those, like if there's something here, I'm gonna find it. So I went down there and I started talking, and the phone rang, and then it stopped. Okay, nothing weird, nothing weird. All of a sudden I heard bang 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 bang, and I fucking took off out of the fucking basement. It sounded like a desk slid around and shit. And ended up fucking going upstairs and watching the cameras and whichever. And then my friend Lily thought she was brave enough to go down there into that place. And she went down there and the phone rang on her a couple of times. Like, this is 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's like actually calling, it's just ringing once. So that place was pretty interesting. That place is off of Broadway in Rockford, called Facts.
What a name.
Oh, we have a Broadway here too in Nashville.
And stuff.
So that basically he was saying that we have a ranch close to me in Belton, but I think it's in Nevada, the actual ranch. But there was there was a ranch here that had similar events. See, I'm one of those people. I want to go to the Tombstone, Arizona, because I just want to go over there to the OK Corral and just because there's a lot of paranormal stuff attached to that area, and I'm just like, yeah, that would be me over there wanting to see that because I'm a fan of Western movies, so that would have been good for me to go there. But here's something.
I'm gonna go to Chicago and investigate all that stuff that was going on.
If you go to Springfield, there's I know that's where the Lincolns are buried at, but I'm almost kind of curious of what would happen if you went to Springfield and kind of go in there where the Lincoln tomb's at and see what
I
kind
like
of.
all that stuff. Exploring, just like, I don't just go just for because I think it's a haunted spot. Like, I like to explore all sorts of different places and old day things and statues and fucking towers and shit. Like, anything I can just go and explore and not be watching fucking TV, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, so the one thing I would like to do with him is I want to take him to a lot of the different historical landmarks that are around the country.
That's the best. The historical, that's what the fucking word I was looking for, but
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I've seen a lot of ghost shows on TV, but the one thing I do like the Ghost Adventures does over everybody else is while they're doing the actual interviews with people, they actually always have their stuff running, and they actually get activity during that time instead of during the investigation. They will actually get stuff happening to them while they're trying to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like one of the coolest things in the world because I mean, there's been times where you can get stuff during the day like that and then not get nothing at night when you're doing the investigation.
I've had definitely some stuff happen during the day and just ugh. This one would make me sound crazy, but I'm gonna go for it. Fuck it. All right. So, my friend Abby was like the very first person that brought me out to. Well, we're not friends anymore, but we were best friends for a while. But she was like one of the very first people to bring me out to this Bloods Point place. But
Mm-hmm.
there's this we went out there during the day just to walk around, and it's a wooded area, and there's a church with a cemetery across the street, floral church. In the floral church cemetery, or flora, that's what it is. Sorry, I keep saying wrong, but yeah. And we were going down Pool Road and we were finding a whole shit ton of like animal bones and crazy things that day. We were looking up in the woods and stuff. And then on the other side, there's a fence and it says underground explosives. So I don't know what they're doing over there or whichever, but it says don't cross this area because underground explosives. And that was like the first
Wow.
time we seen that sign.
Huh.
And then we went up to the Floral Church Cemetery. We don't normally go during the day. We normally go at night because it's spooky, la-di-la-di-da. We went up there, and then we saw the church open. And the church has been closed for years. That freaking Flora Church. It's always been closed. Like, she said that, and like we went a couple little other times before that, and it was closed.
Right.
And there was this old bigger guy with like hospital marks on him, and like, you know how you get the stickies on you from the freaking hospital from getting
Mm-hmm.
poked and prodded and whatever the fuck else.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he had that all up and down his arms and whichever. And we asked him. He was riding on a fucking tractor with a pole behind barrel, like he was working for the cemetery, like he was gonna go do something big and extravagant in that cemetery.
Right.
And we asked him about the church. He said he's been going to that church for years and it's been open, right? We didn't
Mm-hmm.
think nothing of it. We turned around, we lit a cigarette, and turned back around, and that motherfucker was gone.
Oh
Broad
wow.
fucking daylight at Flora Church in Cherry Valley, just fucking gone. And then we looked around and looked around some more, and there was just this little boy. The same day during the day, the only like one time we went out there during the day back then, this little boy was just kind of roaming around the church. He'd show up over here for a minute, and then he'd show up over there for a minute. And I just thought that was odd too. It was just something else to add with it. But that
Right.
little boy just hanging out, just, I don't know.
Sometimes things get, they get curious about what's going on and on the other side. Like we are curious about what's going on their side.
There's no way in motherfucking hell that dude fucking tootled off in his tractor fast enough. That's all I got to say. Like, there's no fucking way in hell.
It makes you think though. Um, with people, I'm not trying to tell people what they can and cannot believe as far as
Me neither. You could think I'm
church,
crazy. Fuck it.
as far as church and everything else. But I've always been wondering, like, since this is hell on earth and spirits are lingering around, what if no one goes to heaven until the end of the world happens, and everybody's just their souls are just
That's
lingering
a
around?
pretty fucking legit thought, actually.
Honest to God, I believe that's the case. I don't believe that anybody's in heaven right now. I believe that anybody who has died since the first time that since the last time that the world ended
It
has
kind of it kind of has that thing where like we're all supposed to rise again type thing that they keep fucking talking about, or he Jesus is supposed to rise again, but you know what I mean, like.
Well, here's something for you. This is a little bit more on the spiritual end of the paranormal world. When you sleep and you dream, you know how they say, you died in your sleep?
Mhm.
Think about it this way. Every time we go to sleep, we die. But then when we're not supposed to we're not supposed to die, we come back to life. Our spirit comes back to our bodies and we're awake.
And a lot of people can't remember their dreams and stuff too.
I mean,
And other people have dreams that actually happen.
Yeah,
Like,
wouldn't it be interesting if dreams were actually what the afterlife is all about?
I've had dreams that have been kind of like a deja vu thing. Like once
Oh,
I,
I've had
lot of
recurring ones.
yeah.
I've had so many different kinds. It's unreal.
Then I've heard of the dreams. Sometimes I've always thought maybe the dreams is from your past life that you were doing, and I don't want to really get it. The whole reincarnation thing would take me forever, so I'm not doing that today.
Yeah, reincarnation would definitely
oh
take a
yeah,
while.
I gotta get back to freaking. I gotta go make lunch and do the rest of
Yeah,
school and all that fun stuff. But that's
that would
for
take
another
forever.
day for sure.
Right?
Yeah, but no, I just think that sometimes maybe we're all just kind of waiting until that world ends, and we're just wandering around trying to figure out. I do think that we do go up to the gates, and they tell us not yet.
I actually don't. There's There's just things that I should believe but don't anymore.
I don't
That's a
know.
good.
Hold on a second. There's one thing he said.
That's actually interesting.
No one goes anywhere until after the earth ends. However, time is a physical property. It isn't a linear property.
Mm.
But how do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you actually know that? You really don't know that. I mean, it's a good theory to think about, but you really don't know that, you know?
There are people that have like died and then came back to life and said they seen whatever and whatever. What do you feel about that? Like saying they seen something.
Well, there's a woman I work with she's an elderly lady. She's probably around 70, 65, 70, maybe even 75 years old, who has literally died 4 times. She told me she died 4 times and was out for approximately an hour to an hour and a half each time that she died and came back. Yeah. She was in a car accident. She wasn't supposed to live. And
She
she
seen
ended up
black or she see something or
I asked her what she couldn't remember. I asked her what she saw, and she said that she couldn't remember what it was that was going on, what was she just saw light, but that was about it. But she couldn't get into detail what she actually saw because it didn't make sense to her.
I don't know. I had one near death experience or where they brought me back or whatever the hell and everything was just black. And that's a scary thought.
Yep.
Well,
Well, the one thing I know for a fact is what scares the shit out of me is dying and then having it and then going into another life. I would rather just die and be done. You know? I don't want to have to deal with this all over again.
Well, he actually answered your question because time has a physical effect. Time is a proven effect that correlates with gravity. Time works differently the further you go up. The further up you go.
Okay.
So that's it.
I mean, I guess. I all right. I already okay. Well.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing too with I've never had. I mean, I've heard of the near death experiences, and maybe sometimes it's just one of those things where they died before they were supposed to, and I've heard people say they've seen God, they've seen the angels, they've seen this, and
I've heard that, and like as much as I want to believe all that, because I do, because there's loved ones that I want to believe is in a good place. But
I do, I
it
do think that I do think that loved ones, like whenever like a grandparent dies, or I do think that the person that they were married to died before them, they do come for them. I do think that happens. I really
I
genuinely.
mean, when before my grandmother passed away in February of last year or whatnot, she was in a hospital bed and she ended up when she was sound asleep, basically unconscious, pretty much. I drugged up on morphine. She was my cousin spent a couple of days with her at the hospital, her last days there, as a matter of fact. And she was calling as she was sleeping. She was calling out my grandfather's name, who had passed away back in 1969. So, and she was also calling out for one of her sisters who had passed away a long, long time ago as well. So, obviously, loved ones do come for you, or you see them in some way.
I think that you're a guide for this, for the spirit realm,
Yeah, I believe that too.
and I think that they're just their job is to guide you through, and whenever it's time for the world to end, you go.
Well, maybe we can save that for another
Yeah, I can say that for another
for
time,
another
plus. I mean,
video.
that sounds pretty cool. But I would save that for another one.
So,
that sounds great. Hope you guys enjoy your day.
same with you. Well, I
You
guess we're gonna
guys will
wrap
be
this up.
seeing Spirit Spies coming soon. I'll open up the page eventually.
You gonna close this out?
Yeah.
I gotta get the rest of the freaking. I gotta get the rest of the pictures up, and then I'll finally open it up.
Okay.
A lot of cool stuff on there you'll get to see.
Well,
Thank you for
I mean,
having me.
you're welcome. And I'm more about to end this. I'm actually going to say this to everybody. We couldn't get everything in, so this whole thing about the Bible and reincarnation, we'll come back to it some other time because I know that's a real long, deep.
It's just lots. It's
a lot of things.
It's just a lot to talk about.
I want to do one, Poston. I have to get a couple of people together, but yeah, I would like to do one of those too. But
anyway.
But yeah, well, thanks, Kayla.
Thanks for Kayla for coming on the show with us for today and talking about this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
You weren't as shy today as you were last time. You're very, very.
No. I wouldn't say you were shy.
No, I was saying she was more talkative.
She was talkative the last time too. Anyway. Right.
But well, boy, thank you for giving us your stories too, and some of the pictures you wanted me to look back at. And if I could find that one that I was talking about with the mirror, I'll send it to you. And that was pretty creepy.
Yeah, you didn't show the one of the family sitting there, but that was really hard to see unless you could zoom it in and out.
Yeah, so if like anybody wants to see it, I mean, I still have
it. We gotta get those pictures up, huh? We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we gotta get them up.
Well, we will. Well, y'all have a good one.
Thanks for everybody with your comments in the comments down below. And when people see the video later, post your
like, subscribe, share, whichever you can.
And if you like the paranormal and you want to talk more about the paranormal,
if there's any ideas or suggestions you think we should talk
post them
about
in the comments down below.